What is going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Sports Talk, and today I have with me a special guest, Mr. Jack Kavanaugh himself. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be back on the show. So happy to be back talking to you. And so happy that it's almost time for the draft because it's been such a long offseason. It feels like years ago at this point that we had the whole Aaron Rodgers, is he gone drama.
Yes, exactly, man. Hey, what an off season it's been. So before we get into it, so what have you been up to? What are you working on? Any other websites? I saw your PFF, a couple websites and stuff like that. So are you doing anything right now?
So PFF is the formerly I used to do the PFF Patriots account for them and did some data collection for them as well. That's kind of how I got my foot in the door of this football industry. Now I am with Believe, running the Believe in Lions podcast. Going to be talking to Glover Quinn later this week. And I'm also part of importantnonsense.com, creating fantasy football content over there. So lots of good stuff that you can find everywhere at Javanaugh87.
Yes, sir. Hey, definitely go check them out. Go check them out. So, all right, man. Look, the off season has come, and it's still going. By the way, it seemed like that the NFL is 365 days a year. It's like no matter what other sports is going on, the NFL is always running away with the show. But this off season did not disappoint at all. What are your thoughts on the NFL off season so far?
Truly the craziest we've seen in ever, maybe? I mean, Aaron Rodgers stays, but then Russell Wilson goes, and then Carson Wentz goes, and then Matt Ryan goes, and then just like the dominoes that have fallen, and then that's just the quarterbacks. Then we got Devontae Adams, we got Tyreek Hill, we've got Devontae Parker. Everyone's forgetting about traded. There's just moves on moves on moves.
Yeah, man, you got JC Jackson. Yo, he went from the Patriots to the Chargers. I mean, what's his name? He was with the Bears.
Khalil Mack to the
Khalil
Chargers.
Mack. Khalil Mack. Chandler Jones went to the Raiders. I mean, there's so many crazy moves this offseason. I've never seen this like something like this before, ever, like literally. And then, hey, the wide receivers are getting paid like crazy. I mean, teams are overpaying. Some teams aren't doing anything, But we are about to go talk into that, man. But this offseason, wow, man, I can't wait to see how the draft, because I think it's not even over yet. I think during the draft day, there's gonna be so many moves, especially with some quarterbacks that's still on the market, that's being rumored to not being able to play. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Jimmy Garoppolo's still out there. Baker Mayfield. Deebo Samuel now wants a new contract, and according to Schefter, wants out of San Fran. Like, this offseason, it just never ends in terms of excitement.
Yeah. Have you noticed a trend that once a player wants a new contract, all of a sudden he delete the team from Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to unfollow you, all this stuff. Like, to me, it is so funny because all of them are doing the exact same thing. I'm going to scrub all my social media from the team. I'm holding the team hostage. I love it, man. I love it.
It's always funny to me. Who's the first person to notice that? Is there someone out there that tracks the Twitter and Instagram statuses and pictures? I gotta know how do we know that these players never had, let's say, Tennessee Titans in their bio for AJ Brown? I don't know.
Oh man, but hey, we'll see. But look, I think that the fans notice that a lot faster than most people, because that's your player and you love that guy on your team and you constantly tracking his moves, just I'm just trying to see, is he mad or how's his profile picture still there? But who knows, man? But look, what team needed to have a big off season but sat on their hands? They didn't do nothing.
I gotta go with Kansas City. And it's because with everything else happening around them, with Josh Allen, they lock in his wide receiver one, Stephon Diggs. Kansas City gets rid of Patrick Mahomes' wide receiver one, Tyreek Hill, and they replace him with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I don't know if that really does it justice. And then you look at the rest of the division. Chargers are getting better. The Raiders are getting better, adding Devontae Adams. And the Broncos, way better, adding Russell Wilson. Whereas Kansas City, they've gotten worse on offense. They've gotten worse on defense, losing Charvarius Ward. It's going to be a slugfest as is in the AFC West. And Kansas City just might not be keeping up at this point and putting too much on the back of Patrick Mahomes.
Oh man, I'm gonna go. You know what? Hey, I agree with that, but I'm gonna go with another team from the NFC East. I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. They did the opposite. I mean, for a team with so much talent going into the season last year, so you would think, you would think that, first year under Dan Quinn, the defense took, oh my God, like a 180. Like they flipped the script. They were one of the top defenses, towards the end of the season. Diggs over here leading the league in interceptions. You got Michael Parson, he feasting. I mean, and now you go into this offseason, instead of keeping your core guys together and say, you know what, with all this craziness that's going on around the NFL, with everybody is leaving the NFC and running to the AFC, we might have a chance to get out the NFC, play for the NFC Championship and go to the Super Bowl. But you slowly took your team apart, from Cooper being traded to the Browns, Randy Gregory reneging on the deal because you try to be slick. So he went to the Broncos. You lost what? Collins left. Connor Williams, I believe, he's gone. Wilson, their third or fourth wide receiver, he signed a big deal in Miami. He's gone. Gallup, he is still not probably not going to be ready to start the season until November, December timeframe. Now you have only CeeDee Lamb and Zeke and Pollard and Dak. So I really think that the Dallas Cowboys missed a golden opportunity to keep their team together, go into the draft, maybe get one free agent signing, and then they probably would have been representing the NFC East. Well, the NFC, period.
And the thing with the Cowboys, too, is the excuses are what drive me crazy, because Randy Gregory, they lose him. And the excuses are, oh, well, because we don't have Randy Gregory, that's how we managed to keep Jaron Kearse and Leighton Vander Esch and Dorrance Armstrong. And it's, no, you had the money to do that anyways. This is independent of your Randy Gregory contract that you whiffed on. And then with Amari Cooper, the logic was, okay, well, we lose Amari Cooper, but we're going to keep Cedric Wilson. We can franchise tag Dalton Schultz, and then Michael Gallup will be healthy. No, you lost Cedric Wilson. And so you have a hole at wide receiver because James Washington's not the solution. You've got a hole at defensive end because Dante Fowler's not the solution.
Nope.
Your two biggest losses are things you're making excuses to make it sound okay, but it's just not.
Exactly. And they did restructure Dak Prescott contract a little bit, and they did restructure Marcus Lawrence contract to save some money, against the cap. So they had money to at least go out there and at least get a Bobby Wagner. Man, could you imagine if they had a Bobby Wagner with a Michael Parson? Yo, that defense, man, by itself would probably lead the league in scoring, because that's how dominant they would have been. But look, I'm happy that they didn't do it. I'm happy that they destroyed their team because, we will talk about the NFC East a little bit, but I'm happy that they did what Cowboys do, mess up. That's all it is. So, and it did what Cowboys do. But hey, it is what it is. So yes, hey, you mentioned the AJ Brown, the Terry McLaurin, the Deebo Samuels, all looking to get paid. Do you think is it possible that all of them be traded during before the draft? Because nowadays, especially in this upcoming draft, man, I'm hearing that this wide receiver core is deep at wide receiver. So our team willing to break the bank, a year before the contract is up to pay these guys? Or are they going to say, you know what, hey, we can't do this. We don't want to set this this precedence moving forward. So, hey, we're just going to trade him, just get as much picks as we can from another team and go from there.
I think it depends on the team, in all honesty. Because for the Titans, they're paying A.J. Brown. They have an identity in Tennessee where it's, we're going to run it down your throat with Derrick Henry, and we're going to run you over it through the air with A.J. Brown. They might move on from Ryan Tannehill, might draft a quarterback, but A.J. Brown is going to get paid. And same with Terry McLaurin. Because who else do they have to put on the billboard?
Curtis Samuels?
Curtis Samuel? Carson Wentz? No.
No.
Not him. So Terry McLaurin, you have to pay him because he's the face of your franchise. So A.J. Brown gets paid. Terry McLaurin gets paid. Deebo Samuel, I'm not so sure. Because Kyle Shanahan sure seems to think that it's him. All of it is him. It's his system. He can churn out production from wide receivers no matter what. So if he believes that, whether or not we believe that, Shanahan may decide, I've got Brandon Ayuk. I can do the same thing with him. I can draft a guy. I can get whatever I can out of you. I still have George Kittle. And one name you didn't mention is also DK Metcalf, who Seahawks are rebuilding. They're either starting Geno Smith or Drew Lock, and it's a competition. And that's all you have to say about Seattle. So they could also move on from Metcalf for the picks.
Yeah, hey, I really agree with what you just said because AJ Brown, the Titans cannot afford to lose him. One, Julio Jones is gone. Even though he was, banged up last year, but still, teams still respect him as a, as a threat wide receiver. So now you have to pay AJ Brown, regardless. You have to pay him because now what you gonna do? Just keep running King Henry, running and have no threat of throwing the ball at all? No. The reason why the Titans are so successful is because they do have, the fear of King Henry running through you, and if you try to cheat up, AJ Brown going over your head, in the middle and making those big time catches. As far as Scary Terry, man, I do see the Commanders re-signing him, but for how much, I don't know, and that might be the problem. How is he trying to get paid top 5 money? Because it seems like every time a wide receiver sign a new contract, it's a new record. It's a new, highest paid. So I don't know how much money is he gonna get. To me, he's probably the top 10 wide receiver. Like he fall in that top 10 range, but hey, we don't know because this is the offseason of the wide receivers. This is the time you get paid. Wilson got a bag for being a 4th-string wide receiver, from Dallas. Like he didn't even play until Gallup got hurt, and then he got about 30-something million. Like, that's crazy. So, and Deebo, I'll tell you right now, if the 49ers do not re-sign Debo, they are not going anywhere next year.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in that division, right? The only threat in that division right now is the Rams because the Cardinals have quarterback issues. The Seahawks are rebuilding. So if you're the 49ers, hey, look, pay the man, run it back, just try to get a couple more pieces in the draft and see what you could do with the Trey Lance because we know that Jimmy G may not even start the season. Who knows what's going on with Jimmy G? So you need Debo Sam. You need that guy that can do everything. That little quick screen that took it to the house, that could even throw a touchdown. You need Debo Samuel. But like you said, the Shanahans, Lynch as the GM, I don't know. I mean, there are some ego,
Yeah.
type of, people up there. So, but who knows what might happen? But I think you might be right. I think Debo might be the odd man out. Just to prove a point and say, hey, I'm the system. I made Debo, or I could draft another wide receiver and do the exact same thing, especially with a deep wide receiver class.
Exactly. And so out of these guys, are we saying Terry's the one we're paying the least? Because AJ Brown, I think, is number one. And I think 2 is Debo Samuel. And if we're putting Metcalf in there, I'd maybe pay him. I think I pay Metcalf over Debo. Either way, though, Terry's number 4 out of these guys. So if he waits too long to sign his deal, is it going to hurt him in the long run?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to everybody that is watching right now. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and share this podcast right now because, hey, you never know who's out there just sitting around, waiting for a basketball game to start and just want to hear football talk. You never know. So please do me that favor. Like, comment, and subscribe, and please share this podcast. And don't forget to check out my man Jack. Yo, he is awesome. He do have his own, website. He works for Believe. He keeps it real. He keeps it 100. I love having him on my show. He's very well knowledgeable. So that's why I love bringing him on. So check him out on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. Because he always so how do you do it, man? Like I'm at work, right? I'm at work and I jump on Twitter and I see every time a team is rumored to be going after a player or they get a player, you already got their roster ready to go, like the quarterback, the wide receiver, everything just ready to go. Like you be on it.
So for importantnonsense.com, I've been doing our depth charts for the last year or so. Basically, I decided that the team's official depth charts aren't too accurate, usually, and the ones that other websites do typically follow the team's official depth chart. So I decided to make my own last year, and then when the offseason started, I'm like, hey, maybe people want to see these. So I started sharing them. People liked them, gained a bunch of followers and a bunch of new friends. And the way I do it is I have all of the rosters saved in a note on my phone, and then I have notifications on for all the major accounts. And luckily enough, I'm usually able to be on my phone when news breaks. Sometimes it will be a delay if I'm working or if I'm driving or something like that. However, I've been pretty lucky so far that NFL news has seemed to revolve around my schedule, which has been pretty nice.
Hey, look, that's a good job to have. I'll tell you that right now. It's a great job to have, man. Talking about the NFL, tweeting about the NFL. Man, the NFL is life. Football is life. All right, so the other divas, the quarterback field, right? We already went to the wide receiver. They got paid. Everybody got paid. It seems like another group that got paid this offseason is the quarterback. And Rodgers got paid. Derek Carr got paid. Russell Wilson, like I said, he switched to a whole new, conference division. I don't know that he redo his contract or not, but I'm pretty sure
stayed. But Matthew Stafford got paid.
Stafford got paid. So now I started looking in. Kyler Murray was like, hey, you know what? Since this offseason last year, because of the whole COVID thing, the NFL salary cap was down a little bit, but now it went up. So everybody wants to get paid. So Kyler Murray been rumored saying, hey, I'm not taking a snap until I get a new contract. Remind you now, he's going into his last year. No, matter of fact, this is his fourth year because he could have a fifth-year option because he was a first-round pick.
Yep. So they've got 2 more years of control plus the franchise tags too.
Exactly. So 2 more years of control. So how do you see this situation ending up? Does he get paid, or do the Cardinals say, look, I'm not doing this. Hey, we could go into the season with the backup quarterback. I think it's Colt McCoy, if I'm correct. It might be him. He won a couple games last year, when Murray got hurt. So he came in there with a good roster. He won a couple of games. So how do you see this ending up? Does Kyler Murray get paid, or do he get traded on draft day?
I think ultimately Kyler Murray will be paid. And I think that's because the Cardinals kind of shot themselves in the foot with this one, because they fired their old head coach to bring in Cliff Kingsbury, and he hasn't done anything. But then they paid Cliff Kingsbury, gave him a contract extension before tying up the rookie quarterback. They also did the same with the GM, who hasn't been particularly good at his job. Even before Cliff Kingsbury came in, he has struggled. So what choice do you have if you're the Arizona Cardinals? Because you don't have any draft picks this year. You don't have much star power around you except for DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, and Zach Ertz is he's still over there.
True, he is, but it's not with Colt McCoy. They're not the ones. They're going to carry the offense a little bit, but you still need that quarterback to make things go after giving your head coach a contract extension, because it can't be middle of the pack when you've just invested all this money in the head coach and the GM. So I think Kyler has to be paid at this point because the Cardinals messed up the order.
Yes, and I agree with you. The Cardinals have to pay him. Like you have to bite the bullet. I'm sorry to say it. It's unfortunate. Look, I used to feel bad for the owners, right? All these players want to get paid, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you sign a contract, you honor that contract because, hey, look, I'm an Army guy. You know what I mean? Hey, you sign a contract, hey, you live up to your contract, and at the end of your contract, then you can ask for more. But lately, my whole mindset, my whole mind frame have changed. I'm all about the players. Get your money, because the minute you get hurt or injured or anything, they are so quick to get rid of you and treat you like trash. So get paid while you can. Look at Dak Prescott. He played his whole rookie year and what, 2 franchise tag, and then he got paid. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that Kyler Murray is going to play his whole rookie deal, 2 franchise tag, but if he could get paid now, why not get paid now? But you have to be smart because you are on your rookie deal and they still have control over you for the next couple of years. So now if you don't show up to training camp, you start losing money, start fining. And now back in the day, they used to give you that fine as a bonus, right? When you show up to camp, they get, hey, if you find $100,000 because you missed 10 days, they give it to you as a bonus. Now they can't even give it to them no more. Hey, that money is gone. So, and then you on your rookie deal, so you have to be careful right now. If I'm Kyler Murray, I'm saying, look, my bad. Look, I'm going to play, hey, I'm going to show up to camp and do what I can to help this team win. And then hopefully they see that he's committed and they start paying him because the whole thing was he's immature.
Yeah.
They need a grown man leading the football team, and this is childish to them.
I agree completely. Everything about what you've said, I agree with. So from the beginning, Kyler should get paid. I understand why he wants to get paid, but he's got to earn it and prove that he deserves it by showing up and becoming a leader. So I don't think he gets paid before the draft. I don't think he gets paid until we're into training camp and we see him take command of this team. And for his sake, I hope he does it.
Yeah, and I really think if he did not have a bad playoff game this past season, and because the Cardinals were a good team. They were favorites, for half the season. And then he got hurt, unfortunately, but still, he stunk up that playoff game. He's the reason why the Cardinals lost that bad. He was just out of it. I guarantee you, if he had played great, he probably would have got an extension this offseason,
Mm-hmm.
but back-to-back years, the Cardinals, they started off hot and then fade at the end. I mean, is it coaching? Is it quarterback? Because Kyler Murray, I mean, he keep getting banged up towards the end of the season. Last year was his shoulder, I believe, on Monday Night Football. He got hurt and he wasn't ever the same. This year was, I believe, an ankle, whatever. He got hurt again, came back. He wasn't the same. Yes, he beat Dallas, but then in the playoff round, he stunk it up. So, the team is saying, look, I had you for what? Going on 4 years now, and we haven't, yes, we had, some good records, increase our wins, but we haven't won a playoff game with you. So why am I going to pay you top money for? So we'll see. So now Baker Mayfield, of course, the whole Deshaun Watson thing. God, that saga is over with because I was getting tired of Deshaun Watson to the Eagles. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
That's
my same reaction because I am an honorary Eagles fan. I very much enjoy the Philadelphia Eagles. So no, keep it away, out of here.
yeah, keep it away. I was like, yes, it's over. Now you got Baker Mayfield. Now he's in no man's land. I mean, I would say that he kind of jumped the gun by writing that whole letter before Deshaun Watson trade even occur. But what is your gut feeling? Where does Baker Mayfield end up?
Oh, that that's the $18 million question, I believe, because that's what the Browns currently owe Baker Mayfield, or whatever team trades for him has to pay
Mhm.
Baker Mayfield. So
Yes.
ultimately, I don't think any team is trading picks for that much of a salary. Only two teams that really make sense at this point to trade anything for Baker Mayfield. We've got the Carolina Panthers, and he's an upgrade over Sam Darnold for sure.
Oh yeah.
But they've got the 6th overall pick. So why not go
Mhm.
for a cheap quarterback instead if you're the Panthers? For me, I think it has to be the Seattle Seahawks, and the Browns are going to have to eat some of that salary to make it happen. Because if you're Seattle, you've got nothing to lose because he's better than Drew Lock. He's better than Geno Smith. And if he can show some magic with, maybe it's a bad offensive line, but it's still DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So if Baker can do enough to show himself, then Seattle will have a quicker rebound. If he
And
stinks,
remember,
he
Noah
walks.
Fant is there too now.
Yes, he is.
See, so I mean, so on the offensive side, the Seahawks are okay. They could go into this draft, get a couple linemen, and who knows? But on the offensive side, this team is still pretty good if they get a quarterback like a Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Seahawks, I'm pulling the trigger. Look, there's a way to finesse the whole, his pay. Yes, he's owed 18 million, but at the same time, if you sign him to a contract extension now, and switch this money around, hey, you're good to go. I mean, like, you don't have to go full blown rebuild here. I mean, you still got DK in his prime. Tyler Lockett, he's still good in his prime. So if I'm the Seahawks, I'm pulling the trigger. I'm going after Baker Mayfield but when the team knows that you need to get rid of a player, hey, all they doing is like they're just sitting back. I'll wait till you get dropped. Just like the OBJ, right? Hey, they try to trade him. No team traded for him because they wouldn't be on the hook for his salary. As soon as he got dropped, now he became a free agent, and now he could, pick whatever team he wanted. But the Browns do not want Baker to become a free agent because the Steelers also been rumored, to like Baker Mayfield. And now if I know Baker, he could be a little petty. He might go to the Steelers to play the Browns twice a year.
Oh, 1000%. That if that was an option for Baker, he would. He's so petty. And credit to him, I don't blame him for it. But you just know that's the kind of thing he would do. So if you're the Browns, you're really screwed at this point.
You are, and you can't keep him on your roster. Like,
No.
You really can't. All right, he didn't even show up today. Of course, nobody expected him to show up, for that voluntary workout stuff. But it is what it is. I think they are kind of screwed. And they would not release him. They would trade him to any team before they release him because Baker do not want to go to Pittsburgh and see them twice a year. So the AFC West is stacked. We already went over all the changes. So who do you see is the odd team out? Like, how many teams before the draft now? Because things might change after the draft. So who do you see being the odd team out that don't make the playoffs? And how many teams you think make the playoffs from the AFC West?
Wow, you're asking the difficult questions here and now, because really, they're all fantastic. And let's be honest, any one of these teams could make the Super Bowl and could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
However, that causes some problems for the rest of the AFC, which is also hyper competitive because in the North, you have the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers. Bengals are the reigning AFC champions, so we'll pencil them in. And then you've got the Colts and the Titans, and then it's just a mess.
The Bills, the
Dolphins, the Patriots. It's so scary. So I'm going to say that one team from the AFC West will miss the playoffs. We'll have one of the teams from the AFC North will make it instead. We can't. I don't see four teams from one division. It'll either be the Ravens or the Browns that make it as that other team outside the division winners and the two other AFC West teams. So what team is that? I think there's two obvious answers because
go ahead.
We've seen when a new QB comes, things are different. It elevates the energy. So Broncos, I think they're going to make it for sure.
Woo!
Chargers, with the defense that they've just put around Justin Herbert, as long as they fix the offensive line, they're going to make it for sure. So that puts us with the Raiders and Kansas City. And the difference here, the Raiders have the weapons on offense, but Kansas City don't. But Kansas City might have the best offensive line in the AFC. Defense, the Raiders have a little bit of an edge there. However, I think I'm going to have to go with the Raiders missing the playoffs in Josh McDaniels' first season as a head coach. Kansas City makes it as that third team from the AFC West. The Bengals make it as the AFC North winners. Then either the Ravens or the Browns, not both, make it as a wild card. And then the AFC East winner, the Bills, and the AFC South winner, the Colts, not the Titans, also make it.
Wow. Yeah. I can't even disagree with anything you just said because I really feel like it is between the Broncos and the Raiders. Which one is going to miss it though? But the Broncos, like with that defense, like Eden, Gregory, to that defense.
Mhm.
Russell Wilson to that offense, especially last year when their weakness was Teddy Bridgewater, was their quarterback. And now you got a quarterback. You got some weapons, some young wide receivers there. I hate the fact that they got rid of Noah Fant, though, because that was my guy. I love Noah Fant for them. But hey, they do have a good, decent a second tight end that was behind Fant.
Albert Akui Boonham. We do love Albert O.
Yeah, so but yeah, you are correct. The Raiders, man, I would hate to say the Raiders missed it because last year they made it, and now they add Devontae Adams on the offense, Chandler Jones on the defense to go alongside with Crosby. Man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the Broncos miss it.
Ooh.
It's first year. I understand, but playing at Mile High, the weather is different, the breathing is different. Russell Wilson, he had DK and Tyler Lockett last year, and he was hurt. I understand, but you had two good weapons on the offensive side last year, and you kind of stunk it up. He trying to air it out so much last year. Let Russ cook. After a while, hey, maybe his arms start getting tired. I don't know. But I'm going to go with the Broncos miss the playoffs.
Well, I get it because there's that finger injury to worry about too that Russ clearly rushed back from last year. So that still, we don't know what long-term finger injuries do to quarterbacks. We've never seen it before. So
yeah,
that's another question mark for the Broncos. Whatever happens though, AFC is just loaded this year.
loaded. So, how do you feel about Miami? A Cole's Cowboy, of course, he's a Cowboys fan too, but he was like, one of these teams that beef up in the free agency going to be a bust. I feel like it's Miami. So, how do you feel about Miami? They are that one quarterback, could it be Tua or is this Tua last year? Like, how do you feel about this Miami team?
So they're doing what basically you're able to do when you don't have an elite quarterback and you have a rookie QB on a cheap deal. You load up around them to see what they
Yes.
actually are. That's the problem the Giants had is they never actually loaded up around Daniel Jones. They just kept putting a bad team around him so they don't know what he is.
Yes.
This is Tua's last year if he doesn't step up. Because with this team around him, all the investments they've made, if he's not the guy, we'll know. Because what else can they put around him? Maybe you add one more or two offensive linemen, sure, but
Mhm.
it's a loaded team right now on offense. There's no more excuses. So, unfortunately, I think this is to his last year in Miami because I don't think they make the playoffs in this loaded AFC. Mike McDaniel misses in his first year as a head coach. And I still believe in Tua, but I don't think the Dolphins do. And that's the problem.
I do agree with you. I feel like this is Tua last year, unless he brings them to the playoffs and win a playoff game. Then, because the whole Tom Brady rumor, because remember, this is Tom Brady last year in Tampa. So,
Ooh.
it's been rumored that he wanted to go to Miami. How choose that? Don't know. But all the pieces is there in Miami with Tyreek Hill. They went out all in this offseason with Hill signing, with Wilson signing, with two running backs, two pretty good running backs. What's the running back name?
Chase
Edmonds.
Edmonds and Raheem Mostert.
Look at that. I mean, they are stacked. And then their defense last year was arguably a top 5, top 7 defense last year, towards the end of the season. So now is might be to a last year unless he bring them in the playoffs and possibly win a playoff game, especially with all that money they spend. If not, then Tom Brady will be the quarterback for the Dolphins the 2023-2024 season. Tom
Oh,
Brady will be the quarterback.
we truly live in the funniest timeline because I think you're right. Now that you've put it out there, all the pieces are there. I think you're
All the
right.
pieces out there. Warm weather. Yes, he's in Tampa now. But look, Tampa is getting a little older. You know what I mean? Like these players are getting beat up. They're a little older now. But Miami is young, fun, sunny. The sun. Hey, who knows? But hey, we'll see what happens. So now let's transition to the Eagles traded picks with the Saints. All right. The Eagles sent their 16, 19, and 194 to the Saints in exchange for 18, 101, 237, a 2023 first, a 2024 second. Did you like this pick or not?
I hated it. If I'm the Saints, because you're not that good, New Orleans. I'm sorry. You're okay. You've got some star power there still, but I don't see you as 2 players away this year. So, unless you're trading up for a quarterback in this draft, which would surprise me from the Saints, I'm shocked. I think this is an overestimation of who the Saints really are. And so for the Eagles, I think it's brilliant because that first round pick next year, if I'm correct, and the Saints aren't as good as people think they will be, that's going to be a better draft pick. And then if they're not good next year, if they're not good this year, they're probably not going to be that good the year after because they keep kicking the cap can down the road. So then that 2024 second round pick becomes even more valuable. So for the Saints, massive mortgage on the future. So unless you get that QB of the future now, I don't know what the hell you're doing because the Eagles made out like bandits, especially with I know we say it every year, but next year does look like a strong draft class. If you're the Eagles, you're loving life right now.
Yeah, I love this trade. I loved it because from the start, I knew for a fact that the Eagles would not draft 3 first-round players. It's not going to happen. It's too good to be true. And if you're the Eagles, let's just say that you keep Jalen Hurts. And I'm a big Jalen Hurts advocate. You know what? I love his intangibles. I love his leadership, his mindset. He's built for Philly. So if you're the Eagles and Jalen Hurts improve drastically this year, next year, you still got 2 first-round picks, regardless of the quarterback draft or not. If you know that he's the guy because he done took, he's practicing with Tom Brady. He got a quarterback coach that just teaching him how to throw the correct way. He's doing everything he can to improve himself to be a better quarterback. So next year, you got 2 first-round picks. You could put some more talent around him. Build this team. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a great spot. 2 first-round picks this year, 2 first-round picks next year. We got 2/3 this year. We got a second. We like in the next 2-3 years, we have at least 10 picks in the top, literally the top 15 altogether. So this team have a chance to build something and could dominate the division again, like they did in the early 2000s, winning 4 straight, NFC East titles and going to 4 straight NFC East, NFC championship games.
Well, it's not going to end here either, right? Because there's no way that Howie picks at both of his slotted draft positions. So what are the Eagles right now? 15 and 18?
Yes.
They're trading back in one of those.
What's
going to happen. They're not picking at both of those picks.
But, okay, so let's just say that they trade back lower in the first round.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I still think that they're going to pick 2 in the first round. But
I agree.
If they get, a edge rusher or a linebacker or a defensive tackle with the 15th pick. I could see them moving down, especially if all the DBs are off the board to get a wide receiver, So I
Well,
can see that happening.
and you look at it here, Eagles pick at 15, right ahead of the Saints. Saints might be taking a quarterback. Steelers want a quarterback. They're picking at 20. Why don't they trade up? Titans allegedly want a quarterback. They could trade up. So
Exactly.
Eagles are in a really good position. It is a great time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan right now.
I agree. But we do have some Eagle fans that hated the pick because they had this fantasy, that Howie was going to draft all three, use all three first round picks. How long you been an Eagles fan? That's my question to those that really thought that Howie was going to use all three first round picks the correct way. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing too, is I understand it's sexy when you get 3 first-round picks. The Vikings did it one year, and they all had their jerseys, and then it didn't really go anywhere. So that's why I'm a fan of adding more assets to make this team even better in the future. Not sexy, but smart.
Exactly. And just based off last year's draft, how we did pretty good last year. Landon Dickerson, one of the best young right guard in the NFL, a left guard in the NFL last year, alongside with Mariota. That left side is secure. And then you got Devontae Smith. You went from 6 down to 12, down to 10, and you still got one of the best wide receivers in the draft last year. So I'm hoping that he is riding that wave, that high wave from last year into this year draft and be smart. So we'll see.
Well, the best part of the trade up last year for Smith was jumping the Giants, watching them panic, and then later overdrafting Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was. And if I'm the Giants, I'm like, why not draft Micah Parsons at that spot? Because the Eagles and the Cowboys had an agreement, not the Giants. So Micah Parsons was right there at 11th, and you let him go to the Cowboys, knowing exactly what the Cowboys was going to do. So why not screw them since they screwed you by trading with the Eagles? Why not return the favor? But they didn't. They did what Giants do. Hey, whatever that was.
Oh, New York.
So the NFC East, right? Eagles have 2 first-round draft picks. Giants have 2 first-round picks. We already talked about how Dallas went backwards as far as their roster go. If the Eagles and the Giants hit on these draft picks, how much closer are they to win the division, dethroning Dallas?
Giants, even if they hit on both of their picks, are still a year away from being a year away. They're still not close to being in that NFC East competition because Daniel Jones is still the quarterback. And the offensive line, even if, let's say they spend both of those picks on the offensive line, it's still a work in progress and the defense is still bad. Let's say they add one offensive lineman and a pass rusher. That's still a work in progress on both sides now. So Giants are quite a few years away from that NFC East. However, the Eagles hitting this year, they're right in the thick of it because they made the playoffs last year. They have a talented roster. They have a talented offensive line, a developing passing game, the potential to add Tyrann Mathieu too, which we haven't talked about yet. So Eagles are a lot closer than people want to give them credit for because, Jalen Hurts, are we going to move on? No, we're not moving on from Jalen Hurts. Accept it that this team is legit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And the fact that the history of the NFC East, the last team to repeat was the Eagles. 03, 04 was the last team. That was a long time ago. So ever since then, it's been a rotating door, next up, who's the next man up? So I think that the Eagles are in the perfect position, if they start the season with the way they ended last season, with using the running game, you draft a wide receiver, maybe, now to go along with Dallas Goedert. He's finally the man. Yes, last year, after Zach Ertz was traded, he was the man, but now he's starting off as that guy. And now you got Devontae Smith and whatever receiver you draft. And then on the defensive side, I love the Hassan Riddick pickup. I love that pickup. And I love the White pickup. So those two pickups were huge, especially when getting to the quarterback was one of the biggest issues last season once Brandon Graham went down. So I think they are in great spot, but they have to hit in this draft. 2 firsts, 1 second, 2 thirds. That is like literally 5 good starters that you could get. Like you could literally get 5 starters coming out this draft. That's how deep it is.
Exactly. And that's why it's so key to get as many picks in the first 3 rounds as you can, no matter the year. Which is why, once again, the Eagles trade with the Saints was so smart, because in 2024, when you have that early second round pick from New Orleans, when they're not as good as everyone thinks they're going to be the next 2 years, then you'll be thanking Howie Roseman.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I appreciate you, Cole Cowboy. Look, first of all, he's depressed this offseason. You know what I mean? Cole Cowboy, he's been depressed all off season, because he wanted his team to do something, but they ain't do nothing. But I try to calm him down. I'm like, look, the Dallas Cowboys, they're good at drafting. That's what they do. They suck when it comes to free agency, but they are pretty good in drafting players. So I told him not to panic. Hey, y'all got, I think, 10 picks. So y'all got, room to improve y'all team in the draft. So, and y'all got a good quarterback, a wide receiver, and y'all franchise tag Schultz. I don't know why y'all franchise tag Schultz for, but it is what it is. But hey, calm down. It's okay, coach. All right. So yeah. So let's talk about Tyrann Mathieu. So what is he waiting for? Like I tweeted, man, like yesterday, man, I'm like, look, I'm off the Tyrann Mathieu, train to the Eagles. I'm tired of it. All right. Every day, every week, I'm like, I'm speaking it into existence. Tyrann Mathieu to Eagles, Tyrann Mathieu to Eagles. And then he's over here tweeting his little things out every day, knowing that people are saying, come on to the Eagles, come on to the Titans, come on. And he's sitting right there enjoying the trolling. I don't know. So what does your gut feelings tell you about Tyrann Mathieu?
It's telling me that he's waiting to sign till after the draft to see how things shake out, because with Kansas City, he's feeling really hurt right now. I mean, we saw his comments. If he had been offered the contract that Justin Reed was, he'd have signed it.
Yes.
So, is it possible that Tyrann Mathieu is worried he signed somewhere and they draft his replacement immediately? Could be. So maybe he waits to see who's really invested in him, who really needs him. And I think the Eagles very well could be that team.
But this is the thing, though. Like, I kind of understand it, but I don't understand his thinking, because the draft, like, if I draft for safety, then I don't need you no more. So, I mean, like, there's no need. So now he's taking a chance of these teams filling up in the draft with DBs, with safeties, and now you on the market for what? Like, I mean, who's gonna pay you now?
That is the risk you run. So, at that point, then, if that's not the answer, I don't know what he's waiting for. It must just be fun having the trolling. That's the only other explanation.
All right, so now we about to start getting the draft a little bit. So, who do you think is the best QB coming out of this draft this year?
For me, it's definitely Malik Willis. And when you look at everyone else, including Malik Willis,
Mm-hmm.
they all have flaws. All of these QBs, when you compare them to last year, do any of them get drafted above Mac Jones, Justin Fields, etc.? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, you go with the quarterback with the highest ceiling. And with Malik Willis, the ceiling is limitless. He has all the athleticism in the world. He has all the arm talent in the world. He single-handedly carried Liberty to relevance with not another NFL quality player on the entire team. And when you put him at the Senior Bowl with actual NFL talent, all we hear is this guy gets it. This guy is it. So he checks boxes all along the way. And his two question marks are the level of competition at Liberty. We also have the inaccuracy at Liberty. However, he was elevating future Domino's pizza delivery drivers. He was elevating future math teachers to relevance. And for inaccuracy, look at who he's throwing to behind that offensive line. The fact he could get it anywhere in the vicinity just speaks to the arm talent that this kid has.
So do you think he's the first quarterback off the board?
I do. I truly do. I think he, with the ceiling that he's going to have, with all of the rumor mill coming out, I think he's the QB1 drafted. And if it's not him, then it's Matt Corral. Because I don't know if you looked at it.
What? Corral over Pickett and Ritter?
I don't know if you looked at it. There's only two quarterbacks attending the draft, Malik Willis and Matt Corral. So, obviously, those two have some assurances from some teams. And the other guys have a little bit more question marks. So I'm not saying it's the right decision because I don't have Matt Corral QB2. However, I think the NFL does. And I think this draft attendance just gives us a little window into the eyes of the NFL evaluators.
Wow. Now that's the name that I did not see popping up before any of those guys. Matt Corral. Yo, he's like a day 2 draft pick to me.
I see him as, what's a good comparison? He's kind of very similar to Zach Wilson. I'd say more Zach Wilson, where it's he ran at BYU anyways. He ran around. He has the arm talent where he makes the flick of the wrist and it's way downfield. The difference with Zach Wilson versus Corral is Corral is skinny and likes to lower the shoulder, which worries me about his long-term future because we've seen him get hurt in college because he's so risky. So Zach Wilson, Brett Favre, that kind of gunslinger mentality, but not the same physically, I would say.
So if you were to drop Corral, Willis, any of these quarterbacks in last year's draft, would any of them go in the first or second round?
I think Malik Willis still does go round 1. I truly do. I think he is that talented. Even if it's at the back end of round 1, he's still going to go. And then, I'd say Pickett and I'd say they still all go round 2, at least Pickett and Ritter, and probably Sam Howell as well, just because if Drew Lock can go second round, and if Paxton Lynch can go first round,
they were tall. They were like
this is true.
6'5". Ain't no Denver. They love tall quarterbacks.
I'm just saying, if these guys can have a shot taken on them, I think all of these QBs are worth a shot in round 2, maybe at the back end of round 1, even last year's class.
Agree. Okay, nice. So who's your best wide receiver coming out this draft, and who would you compare him to?
Oh, that's a tough question because I really do like Treylon Burks a lot, even if he has fallen through the draft process. And so
Mm-hmm.
if he falls out of the first round, I'm going to have to reevaluate it. But until we get that draft capital, I'm going to take what Treylon Burks can do with the ball in his hands as wide receiver 1. And my closest comparable, it's not really a closest, it's a mix of A.J. Brown and Cordarrelle Patterson, because he's got the frame of A.J. Brown, but he does not have the finesse, the route running, the put together profile. That's why I say Cordarrelle Patterson in terms of usage, because he can do those end arounds. He can do those gadget plays. You can use him as a returner in year 1. However, all those things make him very risky. So, wide receiver 2, who I think I'm a little bit more confident in getting the draft capital and being successful, is Drake London. And he is just Mike Evans, Brandon Marshall 2.0. He is just that guy.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, I like the Alabama kid. I know he tore his ACL. Jameson Williams, to me, he probably would have been the first wide receiver off the board if he didn't get injured. So I really think that he has the potential of being better than any of those guys.
He still might be the wide receiver 1 off the board too, if you listen to the rumor mill.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, Olave, he's pretty good too. His size, like I'm not worried about his size, but for the Eagles, I don't want him on the Eagles because we already have a Devontae Smith, kind of like Olave. So Drake London, absolutely. Yeah, I would like a guy like that on the Philadelphia Eagles to go along with Smith and Goddard and Quest. That would be a great offense, great weapons for Jalen Hurts, big physical wide receivers, speedy wide receivers, good hands. I mean, so that would be my wish list. But
I think it's a big 5 truly at wide receiver. I think with the Treylon Burks, the Drake London, the Jameson Williams, the Chris Olave, and the Garrett Wilson, his teammate at Ohio State, I think you can't go wrong with any of those 5 as your wide receiver 1, because there's just different reasons to like all of them. Like you said, Olave's always open, but Drake London is a monster. And how do you compare those guys? Really, it's just preference.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. So my last question before we do this mock draft, right? Who's your sleeper in this draft that nobody is talking about?
So for me, being a Detroit Lions analyst, obviously I'm looking at their team needs and I'm doing a little bit of a deeper dive into players at a position of need. Lions need at least 1 linebacker, possibly 2, and even 3 linebackers wouldn't hurt. And so, with that in mind, everyone wants to talk about Nakobe Dean at Georgia. Everyone wants to talk about Quay Walker at Georgia. Those are the 2. They could go first round. Everyone forgets that there was another linebacker at Georgia named Channing Tindall, and he was the most athletic of them all. He was the fastest of them all. So he's not going to get the round 1 draft capital, probably not even the round 2 draft capital, because he was only a 1-year starter. But that athleticism is just something you can't beat at the linebacker position. And if the Lions land him in round 3 or even round 4, that fills a massive need with a non-premium pick.
Nice. Wow. Yo, I love it. Oh, man, that is a sleeper. Okay. I like it, man. I like it. All right. So now we're about to do this mock draft, right? All 32 teams, like we had talked about earlier. So, hey, we're about to see how this goes. We're about to see how this goes. And I mean, who get like who missed the cut or whatever. Look, it's your opinion. Ain't nobody gonna judge you. Ain't nobody gonna kill you for it. So you just pick what you think the team needs and the best available. All right. So I'm gonna go first. I think that's what we talked about, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That way I get the Lions here at 2.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go first. So Doug Peterson, he needs a win. Brand new coach. You don't be cute right here. Do not be cute because I believe that this guy Hutchinson, he remind me of the Bosa brothers. He is the highest graded edge defender in college football. He could he's good against the run and the pass. So I'm going with the first pick. I'm going with Hutchinson.
Can't say I blame you there at all. And it makes my life a little bit easier because Kayvon Thibodeau versus Aiden Hutchinson. I know the media has cooled on Kayvon Thibodeau, but he's more explosive than Aiden Hutchinson, beating him in the 40-yard dash, beating him in the 10-yard split, and beating him in the broad jump. Obviously, Hutchinson is bigger. His agility is much better. So I get why Hutchinson is going first overall. I just think the hate has gone too far on Kayvon Thibodeau. I still think that if he went first overall, that would be a good pick. And so with that in mind, the Lions add Kayvon Thibodeau at 2.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I know the media hates him, but they hated Penei Sewell. They all thought he was lazy. They hated Justin Herbert. They thought he was a bad leader. It's an Oregon thing.
All right. So look, the Texans need every position.
Yeah.
You just want them they need so much. Who's the best available? If I'm the Texans, all right, as far as their roster goes, look, hey, Brandon Cooks just re-signed back because nobody was going to pay him $20 million. They got Nico Collins. They don't have no weapons. So I'm going to go. All right. So this might shock some people, but I'm going to go with I need to draft playmaking. I'm going to go with Stingley.
Whoo! Another guy, just like Thibodeau, that falls for no reason that he can control in the media.
Who's Stingley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what he did as a freshman in the SEC. Stud.
So I'm going to go with Stingley here. So, because I feel like this draft is going to be so defense heavy, where you could probably could get some good steals, in the second round. So right now, because they are so desperate, the Texans need every position. So why not go with the highlight package in Stingley?
And with the youth, he's going to be there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
All right, so Stingley to the Texans, which means I have the Jets. And I think the Jets, with Stingley off the board, I think they're looking for their own lockdown corner as well. I think that the Jets' top 2 targets are going to be corner and edge rusher. I think that they're going to build this defense because they've already done a good job of that on offense. And so the Jets will be taking Sauce Gardner to be their cornerstone cornerback.
Back-to-back DBs.
Rare. We love to see it, though.
Back-to-back DBs. Now I'm on the Giants, and I'm going to be fair to them.
I was going to say, can you make this pick? Is that even legal?
Yeah, even though I don't like them very much, but they do need offensive line, edge, and linebacker. You could go 2 on one side. They do have the 5th and 7th pick, so I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones need to stay up straight. He gets sacked so much, and he is the most turnover QB since he's been in the league. A lot of fumbles and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go here with Evan Neal.
I think that'd be a fantastic fit for the Giants. They just need bodies on that offensive line. I think they're a lock to take an offensive lineman at 5. And I think the Panthers are a lock to take a quarterback here.
Woo! We got our first quarterback off the board.
We do. And I talked about it, who I think QB1 is. I think that the Panthers are going to take that risk on Malik Willis at 6. You've got Sam Darnold. He stinks. If you go for someone, say Kenny Pickett, that's a little bit too stable. There's not enough ceiling. I think the Panthers, you want to get people excited, you go with Malik Willis.
Nice pick. Oh, man. All right, can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
I really want to pick the 8th pick, so you could pick the 7th pick.
That's fine. We can do that one.
All right.
So that actually kind of works because I have a theory about the Giants as well. I think that with the Jets, they're targeting 2 defensive players, corner and edge rusher with their top 2 picks. And if it's not, it's going to be a receiver at 10. With the Giants, I think they're locked into offensive line and defensive line with their top 2 picks. Get those cornerstones at 2 positions. And I think the Giants are going to fall in love with Georgia edge rusher Trayvon Walker.
What?
All of the athleticism in the world, the second most athletic defensive end in the history of the NFL Combine. Trayvon Walker, if he falls to 7, the Giants are going to be sprinting to make that pick.
Wow. Okay. Edge rusher, offensive line, defensive line. Look, the Giants are looking better already.
Yeah, they need it. They need it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go this. The Falcons, right? I know that they got who? A Mariota?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's basically a British quarterback.
No,
I feel like that they are going to be one of those teams that desperate, because you do have Kyle Pitts there. Maybe really come back next year. Who knows? But they need a quarterback. I know next year, it's a deep quarterback class, but do they want to be that bad again? So I think that they could actually draft Kenny Pickett.
Ooh, I like it. Kenny Pickett heading to Georgia. They missed out. They were big in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, trying to land him. They clearly want a QB, whether it's this year or next year. They got to make a decision at some point because it's not Mariota.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So that means, are you back up with the Seahawks or are we swapping there?
It's up to you.
No, you can go back up with the Seahawks and then we can keep going with the.
Okay. It's so with the Seahawks, they lost Russell Wilson, Drew Lock, and Geno Smith. Okay. So I really think that the Seahawks, man, they need offensive line. Russell Wilson was always running for his life. They really need offensive line. So I'm going to go with Agnagnu. What's his name? How you say his last name?
Ike Ekwonu.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because Seattle loves those versatile guys too.
Yes, they do.
Ekwonu can play guard. He can play tackle. And he can do it better than most of the
guys. They just need that offensive line fixed. And that's what Russell Wilson always complained about. He said, look, give me protection. And they didn't. They got rid of that one high-speed stud they had a couple years ago. Is Thompson? No. They got rid of their left tackle a while ago to the Texans. It was, but now, hey, look, they need help, offensive line. So, all right, the Jets are up on the clock.
Jets are up, and like I said, they're going to take corner, and then they're going to take edge rusher George Karlaftis here. He is the forgotten man in
Ooh.
this edge rushing class. It feels like it seems as though everyone's talking about, oh, gotta get the Kayvon Thibodeau, gotta get the Trayvon Walker. George Karlaftis feels like a Robert Saleh type of edge rusher.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Oh, man. Look, Scary Terry, Curtis Samuels. I really don't think that the Washington football team really have a second weapon besides Scary Terry. With Carson Wentz there, their defense is pretty good still. You know, last year they were hurt with COVID and stuff like that, but they need offensive weapon to go along with Scary Terry. So I'm gonna go with the first wide receiver off the board from
Ooh.
from USC, Drake London.
Love that. Give Carson Wentz his Michael Pittman, his Alshon Jeffrey. If it's not going to happen, you're not going to
No,
fix Carson Wentz, but if you're going to, he needs that safety blanket.
yeah.
All right, so this puts the Vikings up here at 12. Charles Cross is definitely the value here on the offensive line, but the Vikings have invested a lot into it, so I don't know if that's the direction they take. I think with playmaking safety Kyle Hamilton still on the board, pair him with Harrison Smith, another former Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I think Kyle Hamilton to the Vikings is just, he's fallen too far here at this point.
Yo, that's why I was literally about to pick that for the Texans.
They could have used Kyle Hamilton for sure.
Yes. Yeah, I'm about to pick that for Texans. All right, so let's go with the Texans. You know, they do need talent. Offense, defense. I could go offense here, but I'm gonna go with the edge rusher here. I'm gonna go with Jermaine Johnson. Look, I believe in you built your defense and then you worry about your offense, but they need so much that DB, edge rusher. Now you have a shutdown corner. Now you have a guy that's coming off the edge, could put a lot of pressure on the other quarterback, especially in that division where you got the Colts, the Jags. So you're gonna need some edge rushing. So Jermaine Johnson.
And that's who I would have taken for the Baltimore Ravens had you left Jermaine Johnson there. So you pay me back for that Kyle Hamilton pick. With the Ravens, Charles Cross is again the top player on the board. And they did go out and pay Morgan Moses to be their right tackle, but Ronnie Stanley is still coming back from that ankle injury that he missed all of last season, most of the season before that. So Cross, you can plug him in at left guard if you need him to. You can plug him in at left tackle if you need him to. He is a versatile anchor for that Ravens offensive line that likes to run the ball with Lamar Jackson and company.
Okay, I like it. And hey, look, they are a run-heavy team. They are a run-heavy team, so you need those offensive line that could pull. They are very athletic, and I like that pick. My Philadelphia Eagles, we are at pick 15. Look, Fletcher Cox. Last year, he was rumored to be on the trading block. This offseason, we kind of released him to save a couple mil, and we brought him back on a one-year deal. So I feel like he is out after this year. So I'm going to go with big boy from Georgia, Jordan Davis to the Philadelphia Eagles.
That is such a Howie Roseman pick. And I mean that in the best way possible. Loves his athletic defensive lineman.
Yes, especially with Cox on his last deal and possibly Hargrave too. So, hey, so I like it.
Yeah, you can have him and Milton Williams as the future of that, the interior of that defensive line. Oh, that is a great decision there for the Eagles. With the Saints, I know we talked about how they could draft a quarterback, but I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to. I think that they believe they're a couple pieces away from winning a Super Bowl.
Mm.
I don't think that's correct, but I think that's what they believe. And so if they believe that, I think that they are going to add a weapon for Jameis Winston. And I think because Jamison Williams is out for at least the start of the year, and since the Saints are competing to be as good as they can immediately,
Mhm.
Garrett Wilson is the pick instead. If
Oh.
Jamison Williams is healthy, I think he'd be a New Orleans Saint like that.
Yeah. And remember, Michael Thomas, we haven't seen him in almost 2 years because he
Nope.
got hurt early on the previous year. And then last year, he didn't play at all. So I like that pick, man. Garrett Wilson. The Chargers, look, the defense is good. Imagine if the Chargers with Keenan Allen, with Mike Williams, why not add wide receiver Chris Olave to the Chargers?
Oh, some speed. That's the one thing missing from that Chargers offense. I know they have Jalen Guyton, who's not
Yeah,
very good, but he's fast.
yeah, but
Get some speed that's a threat
yes.
and watch Justin Herbert cook.
And you never know because Keenan Allen, I don't know how far he is from his contract deal. And you don't never know because you just signed Mike Williams, so he's there for another 3-4 years. So at least now you got Olave. If Keenan Allen ever decide to hold out or go, now you have another weapon to replace him.
And so up next is the Eagles. So that means you'll be making the
Oh
pick again, I believe.
yes. The Eagles. All right. So now we got our defensive tackle. We got our defensive tackle. Hey, we're going to worry about the defensive side real quick because I feel like the second round we will have some wide receivers to go after. So the DB, I'm going with Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson. That's what we need. We need to replace Steven Nelson. He signed with, I believe, the Texans, right?
He did sign with the Texans, surprisingly enough.
He signed with the Texans. So now you got your defensive tackle, your good number 2 corner to learn from Darius Slay. And you still got Anthony Harris back there with Mike Epps, but that DB, that number 2 corner was a big need for the Philadelphia Eagles.
It definitely is. And with Nelson unavailable now, it's one that has gotten even bigger. Because I don't know if Zach McPherson is the guy to be starting at CB2 there.
Yeah.
So for the Saints, they love their athletic offensive linemen. They just lost their left tackle in Teron Armstead. And so why not replace him with another freak athlete in Trevor Penning?
Yeah. Good pick. Good pick. Good pick. Good
And
pick.
and then I'm up again with the Steelers. All
Yes.
right, all right. So with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's the worst kept secret in all of football that they're going to be drafting a QB, right? Like we all know it's not going to be Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, what's going on here? Come on.
Well,
So you think that they might draft a quarter? Ooh. So you
uh,
think that they might draft a quarterback?
I do believe the Steelers will draft a quarterback. I
Oh,
believe they're probably going to try to trade up for one.
mm-hmm.
However, given the people we have left, since they weren't able to trade up in this one, Desmond Ridder feels like a fit for the Steelers because Matt Corral, I know I talked about him going in the first round. He's
Mm-hmm.
very wild. He's very erratic. I don't know if Mike Tomlin wants to go back that direction with a young Ben Roethlisberger. Instead, you have all the athleticism of a guy like that, but Desmond Ridder can play in structure. He can go through his reads. He's a lot less reckless than Matt Corral is.
Hey, look, I like it. I like it. Let me see here. I'm just trying to Hutchinson. I think at number 2 we had Thibodeau
Yep.
at 2. Thibodeau and 3 with Stanley.
Yeah. 4, we had Sauce Gardner.
Yes. And then the Panthers were up with the quarterback.
Yeah, we went Malik
Malik.
Willis.
And then
Giants had Evan Neal and Trayvon Walker. Then you took Kenny Pickett with the Falcons.
I did. Let me see. Wait, the Giants had who again?
Giants had Evan Neal and Trayvon Walker with their 2 picks.
Okay, Neil was
5.
Oh man. Hold on.
Did the app crash on you?
It did. It did. So, like, you know that Murphy Law we talked about?
I do. It happens, you know. Sometimes it happens, and you just have to improvise when stuff goes south.
Yeah. So, what's your plan for the draft, though? Like, are you doing anything
on
like
draft night? I will be with Believe for the Lions 2 picks. I'll be on their live show, and then I will also be on the importantnonsense.com live stream as well, where we'll be going through all of the picks through the first round of the draft. I'll be there for the second round of the draft, and then third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds will be taken care of by some of our other fine staff.
Nice.
What are your plans for the draft?
Well, I plan on going live.
Nice.
I plan on going live. You know, I probably send a link out to a few people to join me live, and we go from there. So all right. So the 7th pick, the Giants had with the 7th pick,
Trayvon Walker.
Yep, Trayvon Walker, 7th pick. And then the Falcons is on the clock.
Yep, Falcons took Kenny Pickett at 8.
Kenny Pickett. Yes, that's right. I did draft. Good draft. And then Seattle
took Ike Ekwonu.
Yeah. And then the Jets.
George Karlaftis.
Yeah. And then the Washington had a wide receiver.
Drake London.
And that
you. Then I got Kyle Hamilton to the Vikings after that.
That right there is going to be scary if it does.
That would be.
Are back on the clock with Jermaine Johnson.
Yep. Then Ravens took Charles Cross. And then you're up with the Eagles' first pick.
I did. And I took Jordan Davis.
Yep.
And then the Saints.
Garrett Wilson. And then back-to-back Ohio State wide receivers, actually. Garrett Wilson for the Saints. Chris Olave for the Chargers.
Chris Olave to the Chargers.
Eagles up again.
With Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
And at 19, the Saints are up.
And they took Trevor Penning. And
Trevor Penning.
The Steelers.
And then the Steelers.
Desmond Ridder.
Nice. Hold on, let me. Yeah. All right.
Woo! We did
it. All right. So now the Patriots. The Patriots is hard to figure out to me.
They always are.
Yeah. They went all in with the wide receiver core last year with Aguilar, and I don't know what they did in the offseason, But I think that the Patriots, I hate to do this because I don't like them that much, but I think they're going linebacker. I
Hmm.
think they might go linebacker, and I think that Bill Belichick, Devin Lloyd.
I could totally see it because Dante Hightower, he's still a free agent and not expected to return to New England. They need some help on the inside of that defense if that is the case. So
Yeah.
Packers are up, and
Ooh, wide receiver.
yeah, you know the pick. You know that we've lost.
Is it Burks?
We're gonna have to take Burks. He's the number one receiver available. That isn't Jamison Williams, who's
Yeah.
got that ACL tear, and Aaron Rodgers. He's gonna want a friend to develop with right away, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. And I think the Cardinals, they did re-sign Connor, so I'm not gonna go running back just yet. But at wide receiver, AJ Green, but they did lose Christian Kirk. They do got Zach Kurtz at tight end. So I think that this is a perfect spot for the Cardinals to actually draft Christian Watson.
I love that pick. I am a big Christian Watson fan.
Yeah, now you got Hopkins, AJ Green in the slot, and then Watson, big body on the other side. Yeah, you good on offense.
Receiver to grow with Kyler Murray, too. Just put it up there. All right. So Dallas Cowboys are on the board.
Screw
20
them.
with the Cowboys. I think that they're going to be looking at that offensive line because Connor Williams leaves a massive hole at that left guard. And I think the ultimate solution is going to end up being Tyler Linderbaum goes to center and they kick Tyler Biotish to guard. Tyler
Land-
Linderbaum,
Where's
top center in the class. Yeah, interior. Yeah, there
yeah.
you go. I think that the Cowboys are going to love the Iowa Center.
Yeah. Look, the Bills, they lost Cole Beasley. Um, but I really think that they need a running back. They don't have a good running back. Josh Allen cannot be the running back for the team. They got the wide receivers, but I really think that they need a running back. So I'm going to go first running back off the board, Bryce Hall.
I love that pick so much. Fantasy purposes, that's going to be absolutely amazing. In terms of real football, Bills are loaded across the board. They don't have any position of need outside of running back. So
Yeah.
why not take, I don't know if you know this, but in the last, I believe, 10 years, there have only been 2 running backs 215 pounds plus to run under a 4.4, Jonathan Taylor and Brees Hall. So
yes, I saw him run. I was like, God, he can move. On that Bills offense, yeah, he's gonna be amazing.
he is. And so Titans are up number 26. I think that they're going to be taking a guard here. Roger Saffold, they just lost him, their longtime starter. And so that leaves Kenyon Green from Texas A&M or Zion Johnson from Boston College. I think that Tennessee is ultimately going to go with the Boston College guard in Zion Johnson, who can play center too to replace Ben Jones down the line if they need to.
Interesting. I like it. I like it. Wow, the Bucks, man, like they are, man. They brought everybody back. I forgot who they lost. Then they lose a a Winfield.
No, they lost Whitehead instead. Winfield's
Whitehead.
back. Jordan Whitehead is gone.
Yeah. So I really think that the Bucks will take my guy from Penn State, Jaquan Brisker.
Ooh. That's a good pick to get a center fielder for that Buccaneers defense.
Yeah.
Because they're another team. They don't really have needs, like glaring needs. It's
Yeah.
all this will help. He'll start right
Offensive
away.
line is pretty good. Everybody, oh shoot, that one guy retired from their
Yeah,
offensive line.
their right guard retired, and Alex Kapp was signed with the Bengals. They replaced one of them with Shaq Mason from the Patriots.
Yeah. So they could go, offensive line there too.
Yeah, that might be the only hole they have actually. Now that you mention it, ooh.
Yeah, to keep Tom Brady up straight. But hey,
Packers back on the board here, and they got Treylon Burks with their first pick.
they did.
They got their offensive line is pretty set in Green Bay, so why not add some playmakers on this defense? We're going to be drafting Nakobe Dean from Georgia at a running mate next to Devondre Campbell at linebacker. Because if you looked at the Packers defense, it's actually pretty legit. They just need that LB2 right now.
Yeah. And then they lose Smith, right?
Yeah, they did lose Zadarius Smith.
Yes,
He's on the Vikings now.
Yeah. All right. So the Chiefs. Hey, we all know that the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Right? They lost Tyreek Hill. Look, you can't replace Tyreek Hill. So they have back-to-back picks, 29 and 30. So obviously, I'm hoping that this guy could be ready to start the season. So I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. Therefore, Pat Mahomes.
That would be the ultimate Kansas City pick. I know you're not replacing Tyreek 1-for-1, but it's pretty close with Jameson Williams.
Yeah, his speed is ridiculous.
So with their second pick, I think you have to go wide receiver and corner here for Kansas City. So Trent McDuffie, the top corner on the board. He's a steal according to the ADP here as well. So Trent McDuffie, welcome to Kansas City.
The Bengals. Hey, the Bengals addressed their offensive line this offseason. They paid a pretty penny for it. Wide receiver, they stack. Defense-wise, I believe that they go corner here. Because I do believe that they go corner because that to me is their weak link with what's that dude name that began burnt the whole Super Bowl?
Eli Apple.
Eli Apples. I do not think that Eli Apples is the guy.
No.
I do not think so. So I'm going with Elam.
Great pick. And that will bring the Detroit Lions back on the board for their final pick. There's a lot of options they have here.
A lot.
Some people think they probably should go quarterback. They should take that swing, take that risk. I, on the other hand, given the board available, will be taking another defensive lineman, this time on the interior with Devontae Wyatt, the national champion out of Georgia, because the Lions are set at nose tackle with Aleem McNeil and John Pennicini. But at that 3 to 5 tech, that D tackle DN position, it's Michael Brockers, who is getting up there in age. It's Levi Onwuzurike, who struggled in his first year, but he's still a second-round pick. And then that's it. That's all they have on the roster. So Devontae Wyatt, not only do you get a body there, but you get a playmaker on a team that is going to build itself around the defense.
I like it. Look, I think that we would be some great GM because these pick wasn't a reach. There were needs. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with them. Like each of these picks to me were perfect. Like the Eagles got a defensive line and DB that they really need. Dallas got their center, a good offensive line piece that they really need. The Giants, the Washington football team, a big body wide receivers to go along with Scary Terry and Curtis Samuels. The Giants offensive help, defensive edge rusher. I mean, like, I really see. I would not be mad if these first 5-6 picks right here are just like that.
Yeah,
It
you
would
really
not
can't
surprise
complain
me.
with how that goes at all. Just defense, 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 offensive line. Can't complain about that in a class like this.
Exactly. Oh man, that what a blast that was. That was my first time doing it. I enjoyed doing it, and I love the fact that each one of those picks we explain why the teams are getting them, and not just say, hey, you know what, best player available. Yes, this first round is going to be. It's so talented. Like this is a talented like a draft. Like it's very deep. So I can't wait to see what happens. With that being said, thank you so much for coming on here. An hour and 43 minutes. I didn't think it was going to last that long, but once you're having fun, time flies. Once you're having fun, I appreciate you coming on. So please tell them who you are, what you're working on, and any other surprises, any little nuggets, any hot takes out there before you leave and go on your merry way.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on once again. Truly an honor to be on this show. And it was my first time doing a live mock draft, too. So, an honor to be a part of that with you. You can find me everywhere at Javanaugh87. That's on Twitter, that's on Instagram. You can find my work over on the Believe in Lions podcast with the Believe Network. You can find my fantasy football stuff over at importantnonsense.com. I will be on both of those websites on draft night. Other than that, just stay tuned because there's a lot of good stuff coming with the draft coming up. There's going to be depth or current lineups posted. Going to keep everyone up to date with that. So just stay tuned.
Yes, definitely go check him out. Regardless what fan you are, he knows everything that's going on about your team, his team, whatever team. That's how good he is. So I appreciate you coming on. And if you're watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to this channel because I try to bring on special guests as my friend right here, Jack, to come, just talk football about other teams and fantasy football stuff. So whatever questions I have, I like to bring on experts instead of me talking out my butt. I could bring on experts that actually know what they're talking about. So that's why you want to subscribe to my channel. And as always, look, the draft is next week. Howie Roseman, please don't screw it up. That's all I gotta say. Go Birds.